Liz Truss, Prime Minister of the UK, not for much longer, has resigned. She has decided to resign. Now, this is a sweet moment for me because one of the things she did, and kind of what caused her to have to resign right when she got into office, is put together this tax cut plan. And we looked at this on the show about how disproportionately, as we see with so many of these conservative ideologues, went towards the top of the UK and the more wealthy individuals of their population. And I said, this is bad. This is not going to help the economic problems that they're having. Yet so often we see in the United States too, that's just all their brains can think about. Cut taxes more for the rich. And so she got a lot of backlash for that. The markets did not respond nicely. And I guess sort of in response to that, the lack of a good plan and a good response to the economic crisis they're in, she is now having stepped down after only, I think, under 50 days, which is incredible. What's now their shortest serving prime minister. What a bummer, but I like that she's in some way being held accountable for putting together a bad plan. And what I hope is that this probably won't happen. The citizens of the UK will respond to this by not consistently voting for individuals who are going to do this type of action, right? So here's her announcing her resignation.
Given the situation, I cannot deliver the mandate on which I was elected by the Conservative Party. I have therefore spoken to His Majesty the King to notify him that I am resigning as leader of the Conservative Party. This morning I met the chairman of the 1922 committee, Sir Graham Brady. We've agreed that there will be a leadership election to be completed within the next week. This will ensure that we remain on a path to deliver our fiscal plans and maintain our country's economic stability and national security. I will remain as Prime Minister until a successor has been chosen.
Okay, whiplash, I'm sure, for people living in the UK, because it's like 2 seconds after she was made the new prime minister, she's already having to step down, and they're not getting a chance to have a leader settle in and really take the proper actions. It just shows how clearly unpopular she must have been generally or within her own party for, in the midst of a crisis when you want to have a stable leader, they're still kicking her out. This is a funny little side-by-side that was put together by the recount, showing how I think just 24 hours earlier, she was so aggressively saying she wasn't going to step down by saying that she's a fighter, not a quitter. And then, boop, never mind.
Mr. Speaker, I am a fighter and not a quitter. I am resigning as leader of the Conservative Party.
Oh, I love politics. People are so brave until they're not. Good stuff. Here is Joe Biden responding to this news.
Right thing.
Prime Minister Truss.
Well, that's for her to decide. But look, she was a good partner on Russia and Ukraine, and the British are going to solve their problems. But she was a good partner.
Are you concerned about the spillover effects of the U.S. economy, given the political and economic?
No, I don't think they're that consequential.
John, got a minute.
I don't think they're that consequential. Probably agree with that on an economic level. And then an interesting component of all this, of course, the question that's going to get asked after a prime minister announces that they're stepping down is who's going to take their place. And you'll never guess who is considering running and seems to be getting some behind the scenes support in doing so, Boris Johnson. Guys, 3 seconds ago, he was stepping down in disgrace, and that's who Liz Truss replaced, and now she's stepping down, and maybe he's going to run for the position. What are we talking about? Boris Johnson, reading from CNN, appears to be on the verge of attempting a stunning political comeback. Allies of the former UK Prime Minister, who resigned in disgrace only 3 months ago, believe he will stand in the leadership contest that will follow the resignation of his successor, Liz Truss. Two sources who worked on Johnson's last campaign for the Conservative Party leadership in 2019 said he would run again this time. That's just incredibly, incredibly wild. Multiple allies have made the case that Johnson could be a unity candidate who could bring stability to the country despite being forced to quit in July after a series of scandals made his position untenable. Asked how they could justify Johnson's standing to be prime minister again, one MP who campaigned for Johnson in the 2019 leadership campaign told CNN, "Socialists will destroy our economy, and if you don't understand that, then I genuinely fear for our future." So if that could actually happen, again, I'm not close to as familiar with the British political reality as I am with the United States, obviously. But if that's something that could happen realistically, and there's conversations going on behind the scenes, that would be one of the weirdest political scenes in a very long time. He steps down, she looks at him and says, I'm going to try to take your place and thank you for your service. She steps down and he steps up and says the same thing back to her. Whoa, that's weird. But to me, it shows you that in times like the ones we're in, where many countries at different magnitudes are dealing with the aftermath of the economic situation caused by the pandemic, conservative ideology, at least if it's similar to what we see in the United States, which the tax cut plan put forward by Liz Truss definitely was, is not the way you help people in a time like this. It's not. It doesn't work. And people need to learn that lesson. But sadly, somehow, I don't think they will.